Hey guys, and welcome. So, as you can see in front of me are two stacks of books, and a year ago I had none of these. So, that's why in this video today I want to walk you through why I started reading books and buying, and also how it has affected my life. And finally, I'm going to give you some golden nuggets that I've absorbed from reading those books that can improve your life, your business, and probably get you a better life overall. So, without further ado, let me begin with why I got into reading books. So, in my teenage years, I loved playing video games, and I was always this type of guy who's competitive and wanted to beat my friends and, become the best at what I do. And sometimes I did, sometimes I didn't, but as I grew up, I realized that I not only want to be good at video games, I also want to be good at life, at the game of life. And that's when I started researching online business and how to make money online, and how to build businesses, how to become a good entrepreneur, basically. So, with this research, I also started seeing this common pattern of successful people, let's say, what they had in common is reading books. So I told myself, like, okay, why are these guys reading those books? I asked myself, sorry. And the answer was for them to gain more knowledge and to become better at business. So I thought, why not start? Why not experiment with it and see if I really gain value from books? So I started downloading ebooks on my phone and reading them on my way to school, in the school bus. And this is how I started developing the habit. And I started really finding good value in reading books. At first, it was very boring, but I challenged myself and I told myself, okay, if this is what it will take for me to succeed in online business or in business overall, sorry, then why not do it? Why not stick with it? So I did. And at first it was very bitter, but later on I grew the habit of reading books. And what I realized along the way is that reading books is very similar to, let's say, gaining XP in video games. In video games, if you want to level up, you need to gain XP. And you gain XP by learning more strategies and tactics and practicing them times time. So this is like the formula, which is knowledge and times practice times time. And this is what got you more XP and got you to higher levels in video games. And the same goes to the business game, right? If you want to become good at business, or maybe not even business, you want to be good at a certain domain in life, reading books is an amazing way to absorb knowledge and to put it into practice so that you can level up in this domain. Now, this is how I started seeing it. And recently, like as I mentioned in the beginning of the video, I started investing in books not long ago. And when I started investing, I started loving reading more. I tried several ways of reading. Sometimes I'd stick with one book for a month and finish it. Sometimes I'd read three books in a month. And I would, circulate and try out different methods. But what I can tell you I gained from reading books is a lot. And let me begin with tangible examples. For example, How to Win Friends and Influence People. Now, this is one of my favorite books because I've read it three times for now. Like, this is the third time, and I'm halfway through the book. I read it two times on my phone, on the ebook, which I've downloaded, and this is the third time I read it in like hard copy, if you want. Now, what this book taught me is how to become better at socializing with people. You know that this is a very important tool in business. If you want to make big deals and grow your network, you need to know how to socialize with people. So, when I bought this book and started reading through it, it taught me a lot of actual ways to socialize with people, get to know them, and basically win friends. as the title states. And when I read it, I started implementing the things I learned in the gym. So the gym is like the a good place for me to socialize with people face to face rather than online. I started implementing the tactics and stuff I learned there, and I can tell you that I made a lot of friends. And I not only used it in the gym, of course, I socialized with people from everywhere that I went. And it helped me a lot in this kind of skill, and it's still helping me to this day. And I'm reading it for the third time because there's always more golden nuggets to absorb from reading books several times. And yeah, this is one of my all-time favorites. Now, second one is Psycho Cybernetics. This is the first time reading it. It's an amazing book. It talks about how changing your self-image can change the way you act and therefore give you either worse or better results. Um, yeah, so a quote I love say is as a man thinketh, so is he. So the way you think and the way you view yourself will determine what your actions are. Now, coming back to How to Influence and Influence People, right? If we combine these two books together, let's say you're in a scenario where your self-image about yourself is that you don't know how to socialize with people. Suppose you haven't read this book. In this, when an opportunity presents itself where you need to socialize with the people that are in front of you, if your self-image about yourself is that I don't know how to socialize, and if I socialize I make it awkward and I don't want that to happen, well, you'll end up not socializing and therefore not gaining friends or potential business partners or people to work with, right? Whereas if you have a good self-image about yourself, you've read How to Influence and Influence People, you're confident that you can socialize with people and potentially become friends with them, then this will increase the chances that you're gonna go out there, introduce yourself and start conversations, get to know these people and have them in your network, right? So this is the power of self-image, yeah, combined with the skill of socializing and growing your network of friends. So these are two amazing books, ladies and gents. Um, Tony Robbins, Money Master the Game. I started reading it not a long time ago. As you can see, I'm in the beginning of it. I invested in it mainly because I want to improve the skill of investing and know, like, when I start getting heavy cash flow, how to distribute my wealth and how to grow my wealth, basically. So yeah, I might tell you guys like how I find this book to be. um but yeah, the other stack, starting with Ego is the Enemy. Amazing book. I read it one time. What I learned from it is that you need to stay humble. You need to drop down your ego, turn it off, and just say to yourself, like, you need to learn the things that you want to learn. Because if you think that you know everything, then you will learn nothing. So this is one of the key takeaways I took from this book. It also explains that, in life, there will be seasons. And Ryan Holiday talks about 3 seasons. There's the season of success where you face like huge success, and he mentions here like how to deal with this season, to not, or to make the best out of it, right? So the season of success, the season of failure, and the season of let's say stagnation, where you're maybe successful, you face success, but then you face like the up and then a straight path, yeah, straight, where you're not going up neither down, you're like very stable, right? So he says how to deal with this, and also how to deal with failure, where you feel like you're on a down path. um about to read it again, of course, because a lot of value to gain from it. The Alchemist, read it once. It's about pursuing your purpose. In this book he mentions your personal legend, this is what he calls it. Influence, well, I've read this book 2 times, and I can say it has a lot of golden nuggets and strategies on how you can get people to say yes, how you can convince people, and sell things more easily, and use psychology and human nature to be able to influence others to take the action that you want them to take. Now, of course, I use this book to try to influence people in a positive way and not a negative one, right? The subtle art of you continue the sentence. It's a good book. The key takeaway that I learned from it is that life is filled with problems, and if you think that solving one problem won't lead to the other, and therefore if you want to get rid of all the problems in your life, then you will live a depressed life because you won't have anything to work on and fill your time with. And so therefore, if you want to live a good life, it will be consisted of a lot of different problems that you need to solve, and this is what gives us happiness and fulfillment, is actually solving these problems. Yeah, for our work week now, I've read a bit of this book, but as I was reading through it, I felt like, right now is maybe not the best stage to read it because in my business, I still haven't started getting cash flow. And so to read this book, I think I need to be doing some cash flow because from what I see, it mentions escape the 9 to 5, live anywhere, and join the new rich. This book explains, I think, how you can gain all types of freedom, financial location, and time freedom. So my camera cut off and I'll continue from here. As a summary for this video, what I can tell you is that if you want to level up faster and reach new heights in whatever domain you're at, reading books is a great way to learn new information and, most importantly, keep it in your head. Because as you're reading books, you're more likely to absorb them and retain the information that you consume. You're gonna go through a lot of examples and anecdotes that the writer has written, and you're also gonna be pausing a lot while you're reading, and that way you're thinking about what you've just read, and this not only helps you gain new information, also helps your critical thinking part of your mind. Now, this is my experience with reading books. Of course, podcasts and other types of content that give you information are good. But from what I found, like, because you don't have a lot of, how can I say that? Like, not all your senses are stimulated, right? When you're watching a podcast or, let's say, listening to it, or both, right? Your visual and your hearing senses are working, whereas when you're reading books, only your visual senses are working, and this leaves more power for your brain to kind of process the information that's coming into your mind and retain it more often, because the goal here is not to get a surplus of information from a billion types of sources. It's rather to get a small yet very valuable quantity of information that you can retain in your head and use it, practice it. Because if you have a lot of information going on in your head, this will lead to confusion. Like, I can talk from experience here. I tried, for example, listening to one podcast every day while I'm at the gym, but I found that consuming a lot of this content led me to getting confused and slowed me down rather than pushed me up in business and in life overall. Whereas reading books, it's a very simple way and very effective way to gain the information and retain it. So this is my experience, guys. You go on and test and experiment with reading books. If you haven't started yet, I challenge you to read at least one book, right? And no, it's not a nerdy thing if that's what you think. Like, this is what I used to think about as well. It's a great way to level up. And if you are reading, then congrats to you. You're a legend. Other than that, guys, I hope you take care, take risks, and I'll see you in the next one.